Hello and welcome to another episode of the Contractor Growth Show. My name is Mark, and today I have the honor of speaking with Ramiro Alvarez, Home Tech Foundation Systems over in Prescott Valley, Arizona. Ramiro, thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah, it's nice to be here with you.
Fantastic. So we're taking a look at the business. You guys are doing some really interesting stuff, working with manufactured homes and really in that niche, doing a lot of kind of foundation repair, shoring up, as well as some other auxiliary work for manufactured homes. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about the business, the history, and what you guys are up to today.
Yeah, actually, I began working with my dad about 30 years ago, and eventually I went on my own. And actually, we were doing what everybody else was doing in about 2007 or so, 2006. But right before the crash, we got into retrofitting manufactured homes that needed financing. And that's actually where we got the start from what's today evolved into this company. And basically what it is that when somebody is selling an existing manufactured home, the banks require what's called a permanent foundation. And so that's at the time we began doing that. And ever since, the company has been doing very good. And that's the way it began.
Interesting. We've done a lot of building myself. I've also done quite a lot of real estate work in different ways. So manufactured homes, these are like a little middle space. It's a house, but it's still got that almost temporary kind of quality to it, even though these are beautiful manufactured homes. And in many cases, they're built on, say, a post and pier foundation. But if someone's going to get financing, they want to see that a foundation all the way screwed down to the ground in a cinder block or whatever poured foundation. Is that correct?
Yes, and in fact, the home that existed in that time, it's not like today's manufactured homes. Today's manufactured homes, they're beautiful. But at the time, they weren't quite that way. I'm sorry.
Sure.
But at the time, actually what we were doing, the bank would call us and they would say, you know what, we need a block stem wall. At the time, that was the only way that you could put permanent foundations in. And even in that time, a person would have to spend about $10,000 to put in what's called a permanent foundation. So at the time, we were looking at this stuff and I was working with some engineers, and they actually came up with a permanent foundation that's approved even to this day by FHA and Arizona Housing that we use today as permanent foundations. And in that time, we dropped the cost in half. And now a permanent foundation can cost about $2,000 and maybe $3,000, even if it needs extra work. And that's the way it's evolved.
Interesting. So when you're doing these permanent foundations on your manufactured homes, are you working more with the homeowner or is it more with banks?
Actually, with banks that require it, and with the banks and the real estate agent, it's a combination of everybody. But what happens is that in order for a bank to secure the real estate deal and give somebody a 30-year loan, what they want to know is the foundation good, because there's foundation. Everything starts with foundation. So what we do is we ensure that the bank has a solid foundation so that they can extend a loan for 30 years.
I see. Interesting. I saw you guys were really the first local company that focuses on foundation solutions like this. I saw on your website. And this is an interesting niche that you guys found. You only work with manufactured homes. Is that correct? You've got this specific niche in specific industry.
Actually, at the time, yes. However, now we have three divisions in the company, and they're all just firing on all cylinders.
Wow.
But that's the way we began, is with manufactured home foundations. However, now we do historic homes. It's not uncommon for us to do a $40,000 foundation.
Oh, no kidding. Interesting. And so you guys are in Prescott Valley, and that's half hour outside of Prescott. Is that right?
No, we're about 15 minutes from Prescott.
Okay, great. And given your what is the service area? It goes over in Prescott. Is it an hour outside of your location that you guys service?
Actually, we've been all over the state. We've been as far as Tucson, but we try to stay in what's called the Quad City area, which is Prescott Valley, Dewey, and Chino Valley. We try to stay in that area because it's close. But we do a lot of Flagstaff, which is an hour north of us. And we can also do Phoenix, which is an hour and a half to the south of us. So as far as retrofitting, re-levels and things like that, we can basically do it anywhere in the state.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. And Ramiro, can I ask, what's the size of your team? It maybe fluctuates, maybe seasonally, but do you guys have a consistent team, or are you guys working with subs mostly?
In this case, we have 2 crews that do this. And actually, even with the 2 crews, we're able to do somewhere around 20 retrofits and about another 30 re-levels, even with our 2 crews.
Is that a month? 20 a month? Or?
A month, yes.
Okay. Amazing. Man, that is awesome. So you guys have to go out and inevitably you're going to have to go out and quote that job before you do it. Or are you guys able to quote that just over the phone?
Here's what it is. Ever since 2009, the state of Arizona required that every brand new home would require a permanent foundation, whether it be a block stem wall or one of these, they're called ridge and anchor systems. And it's basically, for lack of better words, basically, if you could imagine a couple hands coming underneath a manufactured home and grabbing it. So we insert these rigid anchor systems that if you have a seismic event or a high wind, it actually holds it together.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And we can do that in hours now. We use laser levels. We use torque wrenches. We're really modern right now. We're probably the only company that I know of that does this.
That is wild. That is so wild, man. I love companies that have found an amazing niche and just own that niche. And it's interesting. It seems like you guys have just really stayed in your lane, so to speak. This is what we're doing. We're really going to nail this, get it really right. And ultimately, the jobs become a little easier over time. They become more profitable. You guys develop a better reputation. Just staying at this one thing that you guys do really well. Sounds like you're branching out to some other services as well. But man, I just love to hear a story of a business niching down like you guys have. That is awesome. We took a look at you guys' reviews. You guys have got a ton of glowing reviews. Not always easy to do that. There's a lot of moving parts in construction and time sensitivity around things. What are a couple of tips or secrets of how you guys have done such great customer service so that you guys get consistently reviewed so highly?
One very important factor is Cynthia, the office manager. She's just great. You talk about somebody that's organized. I'll admit, I'm disorganized, but I get a lot done. But yeah. She is so organized. She takes care of our scheduling and things like that. She's been an amazing addition for us. But let's say that something does happen. We're not perfect. Things happen. Could be that a customer's irritated. What I try to do personally is that no matter what the situation is, we go out there as soon as we can and we just fix it, no matter what it is, whether it's our fault or even if it's not our fault, if the customer thinks, we just go out there and we fix it anyway. Life's too short, and we do pretty good.
I love it. Have you been in the Prescott area your whole life?
Actually, yeah. I grew up in a little town called Mayer, about 20, 30 minutes south of us. To this day, it has a population of about 3,000 people. Big city here of 40,000 people.
Amazing. I spent a summer in Prescott actually building a house way back in the 90s, and it was one of the funnest summers I've ever had. What a beautiful little town. I love that whole area there. And imagine growing up there, you've got so many friends and family around, huh?
Yeah, we're well established. My family actually, I started off as a tireman. We have a couple of tire businesses here as well. My family does.
Uh-huh.
And they've been around since longer than I have.
Huh.
Early 80s, about 83, 84. So we've been around the Prescott Valley area since then when we first built our tire company. But I eventually changed and I love what I do. I really do.
Uh-huh. That's so cool. So regarding growing the business, so we're here at the Contractor Growth Show, the podcast, and our listeners are builders and curious about how to grow their own business. I get the sense you guys have grown quite a lot from referrals, which is fantastic. Are there any other ways you've grown the business? You said you guys have done some kind of recent marketing efforts. Any thoughts about how have you guys grown the business? How's that worked for you guys?
It's mainly been word of mouth. When I first started the business, of course, we weren't that busy. In fact, I got my license at the time. I got a couple licenses. One was a general contractor's license, and the other one was a master installer of manufactured homes. And I remember spending all my money to get those licenses. And I put some flyers out, and we got busy pretty immediately. But at that time, we used to install manufactured homes from the ground up. Quite frankly, I didn't know how to price things, but eventually I learned. And at the time, we were so focused on price, and that's the way we grew. Now we focus on the overall value.
Uh-huh. So. Great. And did you say, have you guys recently done kind of some TV advertising and
yeah, and that's one thing. I saw one of my friends run an ad on TV. It's kind of like I watch YouTube, and I don't have YouTube Premium, and I'm glad I don't actually.
The commercials.
I don't know. It's like the old TV in a way. It's kind of cool is that you can skip them at a certain point.
Uh-huh.
I saw them, and so we made arrangements to run a TV ad. And I got to tell you, we haven't been on the air for more than about a month. And I'll tell you, it's a game changer.
Wow.
Yeah, if you go to YouTube and you put Home Tech Foundation Systems, our ad will run. It's a goofy, a very straightforward ad on one of the sections that we have.
Uh-huh. Okay. Great. That's mainly running on YouTube, or is it running on YouTube as well as some like local cable stations?
Yeah, in fact, it is. It's a Sparklight, actually. And what it is, Sparklight is a cable company, and that's their base. However, they incorporated YouTube and also the YouTube word search engine. And we just launched that because we weren't ready. We're not quite ready, but we're so busy right now. But those particular platforms with the word of mouth, because we're already busy. With the word of mouth has just made our company busy on steroids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then, Ramiro, how do you handle a lot of the builders we talk with? They're really struggling with finding and recruiting team members and then kind of retaining them as well. You guys are busy on steroids, sounds like scaling up. Have you found it difficult to hire and retain team, or is that something you're haven't really had to deal with too much?
Oh, of course. It is tough. Ever since COVID, really, it's been a different world. It's been very difficult to retain people. Right now, we have a very good culture. And I remember at the first of the year, I had to clean house a little bit because it wasn't that great of a team. However, I think that's a struggle that all of us contractors have right here, right now. There's just no way around it. It's tough.
I see. Interesting. And then regarding the business, it sounds like you guys are pretty slammed right now. Do you have any kind of stated growth targets in the next few years? Are you guys stable right where you're at? Or are you thinking, like a lot of folks who talk to you, growing 10, 20% a year is maybe an ideal target for you guys?
We're growing at least that. We might grow much more. However, right now, we have 3 different parts of the business. What's neat about this one is that we got it down packed. This retrofit, re-level. Nowadays, whenever we go do that, we'll go do a re-level. But the difference is this. The biggest difference is that since we've been doing it pretty good for a while, one of the first things that we do is we train people, and we do so much of them that even if somebody's new, within a month, we've done more re-levels and more installations than companies do in 2 years.
Wow.
And, within a month, they get good experience. And right now we have 2 crews that are very good.
Huh. Amazing.
So,
okay. And then regarding your typical sales process, somebody calls the office, maybe they talk with Cynthia. Do you guys then put together a quote or put together an appointment to go out to the house and quote that up? How does that kind of sales process flow with you guys? What are the steps there?
even if you go on our website, there's a few ways. Yeah, we do inspections. We do inspections. However, if somebody wants what we call a quick bid, and remember that I was saying ever since 2009, if somebody calls up and they say, we have a 2009 manufactured home that we want to sell, what's interesting is that the technology of today, you can actually go and visit the house and look at it on the outside. The only thing you can't do is crawl underneath. But we can give you a 95% accurate bid just based on the street view and Google Maps.
Wow.
Yeah, technology is just unbelievable these days.
That is awesome. Amazing. And you call that a quick bid. And so maybe you're setting that up and saying, look, we haven't been to the house. We haven't been under the house. So this is a quick bid, and it's not maybe stamped and not necessarily a signed quote that you're sending over, but it's more or less like an educated estimate.
I can tell you this, for me anyway, I would say that on a quick bid, I'll be 95% accurate.
Okay.
On what it is, just based on looking, because one of the other criteria is you got to have good skirting. The outside's got to be good. About the year of the home, when it was installed, because you have different installation methods. But if it's anything 2009 or newer, there's almost 100% chance that you got a permanent foundation, and all you'll need is a re-level and then what's called an engineer certificate. Really what we're going for is an engineer certificate, but 95% we can do a quick bid, but most of the time people are old fashioned. They don't want an actual inspection, but if they want, hey, what's it cost more or less? Say, this is what it will likely cost you, and we can do that within an hour.
Wow. That is awesome, Ramiro. We talked about the history of the business, the specific work that you guys are doing with the retrofits and the kind of re-levels, engineer stamp. Got part of your review process of getting great reviews is actually having someone in the office, Cynthia, who does a great job of scheduling. She maybe fills in some of the gaps that are not your strong points. I also am disorganized, but we've got some folks here on our team that help us stay really on it, and which helps us get good reviews too. And then we talked about some of the marketing and outreach that you guys have done. Fantastic. And we talked about your quick bid process, that you guys are able to do that kind of quickly over the phone, which I imagine really helps folks because they want to know, can we just get a kind of a sense of what we're talking about before you guys have to schedule and come out and everything else. It sounds like a great business, and you guys are doing just great work there in Prescott Valley and the surrounding area in Prescott. Ramiro, if folks are looking for a foundation, or they have a manufactured home and they're looking for some other work, maybe a deck, skirting, a re-level, what are a couple of good ways to get in touch with you guys?
You can call us at 759-2000, or you simply go on our website. It's Home Tech Foundations, plural, hometechfoundations.com.
Okay, fantastic. And Home Tech, that's home and then tech is TECH. hometechfoundations.com. Fantastic. Guys, listeners, if you're in Arizona, it sounds like Home Tech, they go all over the state. Definitely give these guys a call, take a look at their website. And if you are a homeowner or related to the finance industry and need some help in the Arizona area, looking for a re-level or some of the services that Home Tech services offer, hope you guys would give these guys a call. We've looked at their site, we've looked at what they're doing, and these guys are super solid and fantastic. Ramiro, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Back to this. There's something that I didn't have a chance to just take about 60 seconds.
Sure, of course.
Okay. One of the things that we started doing in volume on which we started is that right now we're actually doing about 8 what we call land home projects. So basically, let's say somebody, a homeowner or somebody has a raw piece of land and they buy a manufactured home from somebody. We actually install the home, do the complete site prep. We set the home, we do the septic, we do it from the permit to the final inspection. That's that actually in numbers is actually bigger in numbers, less jobs, but bigger in numbers of what we're doing right now. From start to finish, we have our own equipment, backhoes and things like that. And the other thing me and my family did because of that, we now provide affordable housing. We install manufactured homes and sell them and make it affordable. And that's something that's relatively new.
Amazing. A couple of different pieces here. One is that if someone has a lot in the kind of Prescott surrounding area, and they're looking to put a manufactured home on that, you guys are a great company to call to do everything. Basically, we're going to take care of the septic, take care of all the permitting, bringing it in. So soup to nuts, you guys can completely take care of that process.
100%.
Okay.
The only thing we don't do is the well.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, and we talked about that. You guys have do some kind of development work, and so you guys are doing this kind of in your own kind of family business, right? And so you guys have really got this process down. And so it sounds like it's affordable, it's quick. You guys know how to go through the whole process with the city and whatnot, the county. So that's one. And then another is that you guys provide affordable housing. So you guys are also doing this work yourself, buying lots, putting manufactured homes on them, and kind of helping the community by providing some lower cost housing for folks.
Yes, because right now in this area, I don't know if it's nationwide, we used to be an affordable housing place. We're just no longer.
Man, that's the truth. Yeah, seriously, especially in just such a beautiful place to live. I've actually looked at prices in Prescott recently, and yeah, it's going right on up, huh? Not a lot of affordable housing there in town, and so you guys are providing that kind of community service as well.
Yes.
I love it. Love it. Perfect. Guys, again, go to
HomeTechFoundations.com.
HomeTechFoundations.com. Take a look at Ramiro's stuff and give him a call if you're looking for some of the services that they offer. And otherwise, Ramiro, thank you so much for being on the call today. You provided a lot of value for our listeners. We'd love to have you again on the show at some point in the future.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Take care, man.
Thank you.